So that's where I get to the next level now. How is the statute going to be narrowly tailored? Okay, remember from 2 minutes ago, compelling governmental interest, which means important shit going down. B, how do you address the important shit? It has to be narrowly tailored, okay? Narrow, like my waist, all right? Got it. So, what it is your remedy going to be overbroad, okay? Here's the problem, but your remedy's over here. Too big, all right? It's like Pac-Man, doesn't work, okay? Let me dumb you down. So, what you got to do is match it as closely as you can so that you're not going too far and you're doing enough. So in this instance, what is the harm in some white people having to wait for a little while the original blacks and some of the original white medicals, those are the first tier. They should go first. And this plan that's coming up now, it doesn't really resound with that. Okay? So, first of all, I'm just going to say this. I have probably forgotten more constitutional law than most of the people debating this issue ever will learn. Okay? I don't know how many dozen employment cases or civil rights trials. I've only done like 4 trials, but whatever. I've won them and in an administrative hearing. So when I provide you this analysis, but more important than that, I clerked for Ted Mearns. Ted Mearns, next to being a jurist himself, is one of the most highly esteemed law professors, civil rights law professors in the history of the country. UVA law, Case Western law, and his wife was the mayor of Shaker Heights. Anyway, I was his law clerk. And I was the law clerk for Terry Gilbert and other people, illustrious attorneys, back in so I learned all this stuff from the top. So it's not like I forgot it at some point, even though I'm only a hearing officer now, I'm no federal judge, but whatever. So Alexa off. Alright, Tom Club for the evening. So, some fun and jolly stuff to start us off on a very somber event right now. But I'm going to provide some enlightenment to a very somber event, and I'm going to do what I do best, which is to try to explain the law to you in simple terms so that you don't gas out and say, "Oh my God, King, that is just so complicated, I can't get my head around it. I don't understand what you're talking about." Just try, okay? And we're going to talk about cannabis right now, and in particular, we're going to talk about something that's very pressing. There is some activity that's going to happen this week regarding bill number 102 with the Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board. This is going to be on a public hearing, which maybe I'll get a chance to get called on this time since my microphone didn't work last time. But this is a public event where they're going to be addressing what they're doing next with these 39 or however many licenses there are available, which are supposed to be equity-based licenses, okay? You with me so far? Good. Okay. Now, these equity-based licenses had a shelf life originally, well, it was pretty short. They were supposed to be addressing what happened to the blacks in the communities, in the inner cities, in the areas where the war on drugs, the Nixon and the Biden and the who else was involved with that? All the Reagan. They were supposed to hit those communities the hardest. Okay, this is what this was supposed to remedy. But the point is, there are a set of people out there who are not the 1950s and 1960s drug dealers, but the people who actually stood toe-to-toe with the LCB, with federal and state agencies under threat of oppression at that time, and still present. They stood tall and put themselves out there. They're next on the line as the original cannabis people, white folks and black folks too, in the medical department, to put their names on registries, which we know got raided, okay? So that they could try to get a legitimate license. They got the licenses for medical, and then there was a 2-step process, but people like Vicky Christopherson and all her people, they ended up taking away the medical bit. It's all interwoven, and it's difficult to explain it all that succinctly. But to sum it up, let's just say that in the medical era, black folks and white folks got the shaft. black folks got the shaft a little bit harder. And there's no question about it. Breonna Corbray, Jenny Durkin made him an example when she was a federal prosecutor, okay? So all the blacks, and knowing the relationship of blacks with police, we're kind of afraid of police, all right? I mean, I went to law enforcement, but I had a lot of cop friends, but, you know, that to knowingly put your name on an application at the time when they were doing these things and threatening blacks with back taxes and all this stuff, that there are affidavits in court now about this, that Kevin Shelton and Sammy were threatened by the LCB agents who are fake cops, that they were threatened into giving up their shops. Now where, you know, wealthy white people have these shops now and they're churning and they're making money, you know, familial wealth. I got to give you the backdrop before I tell you the quick and dirty, because it's just, I got to assume people walking in here don't even know anything about any of this. So it's difficult. Not only am I supposed to be a lawyer and a reporter, I've got to, you know, condense every episode every time somebody sees it. I was like, well, I don't get it, man. I don't know. I'm walking into a show I don't understand. Hey, you know, do the best I can. All right? So, what's going to happen now is, and again, I'm just focused on this. When the original equity thing started, it was about the people who were around to start, people who built the legitimate industry, okay? And I got some white friends who were in medical who got screwed, okay? Our expert witness, Frank Giese. LCB hates him too, all right? But he would definitely see the fact that blacks got screwed a little harder than people who look like him, all right? That's what we're talking about. So when I see people talking about equity now, and I hear them saying, oh, you know, you can't make it racial, you can't make it racial. Look, white person, yes, we can make it racial. And it's not personal to you, but the problem is LCB made it racial initially. Ab initio, they made it racial. And so now, I forget the jurist that said this. Pepper's like, Dad, will you give me a treat? I forget the jurist who said this, but sometimes in order to address race, you have to address race. And so what we've seen in the past is that LCB, they have gone, and I've shown you guys this, and we're just getting information now. The LCB has bent over backwards to give props and licenses to whites who they've identified as being criminal entities, like the Widmer family with Khalifa, okay? But if you're black, they always find a way to get away from you and not give you, you know, anything. They don't work with you. And, you know, I can't sit here all night and describe all that, but I still have to provide the background that during the time that Libby Haynes Marshall is the only black person, the only female person that we know of who passed the lottery here. And they found a way to beat her out of it, even as they were bending over backwards to give special favors to others. And the examples are there, guys. It's in the comments section. It's just overwhelming. So here we come now. Now we come to the playoffs, all right? That was a crappy drum roll. But so now we come to the playoffs, all right? And there's a constitutional analysis. That's what I promised at the beginning of this. So I've given you guys a bit of a background as to, you know, what made the situation the way it is today, all right? So, first of all, I'm just going to say this. I have probably forgotten more constitutional law than most of the people debating this issue ever will learn, okay? I don't know how many dozen employment cases or civil rights trials. I've only done like 4 trials, but whatever. I've won them. And you know, in an administrative hearing. So when I provide you this analysis, but more important than that, I clerked for Ted Mearns. Ted Mearns, next to being a jurist himself, is one of the most highly esteemed law professors, civil rights law professors in the history of the country. You know, UVA law, Case Western law, and his wife was the mayor of Shaker Heights. Anyway, I was his law clerk. You know, and I was the law clerk for Terry Gilbert and other people, illustrious attorneys, you know, back in so I learned all this stuff from the top. So it's not like I forgot it at some point, you know, even though I'm only a hearing officer now, I'm no federal judge, but whatever. So just now we're going to get to the point, all right? Sorry it took 10 minutes. But they make it so hard. If I just walk in and just start telling you the point, you'll be like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about, you know? Please. So, we have a constitutional issue now, all right? Anytime that a law is passed, you look at it like this. There's basically 2 levels of scrutiny now. The simple level is called rational basis. Oh, we need to put a street sign up over there, Jed. All right. Street sign goes up. Yeah, we needed it. Kid got hit in the road last month. Okay, put a stop sign up there, put a street sign, whatever. Good. Rational basis test. Is there a rational reason to have this? Does it look like this, like what you're doing might be helpful? Done. Then there's another level. I'm going to leave out the mid because the mid's kind of gone. The other level is when it gets really constitutional. And that's what we're talking about now, when you can show that there is most assuredly a history of discrimination, which we can show here, all right? And in that level, here's what's required. You need a compelling governmental interest, okay? Say it after me. Compelling governmental interest. You can get it, all right? All right. That means there's some important shit going down that needs to be fixed. Compelling governmental interest. Important shit going down that needs to be fixed. Got it? Okay. So, how do you fix this important shit? All right? You identify what the shit is. It's racism that happened in cannabis. Got it? Got it. Okay? Next. You're like, well, to whom did it happen that we can identify? Well, it happened most clearly to the people who applied for licenses and got shafted. Boom. Got it? Good. Okay. So, these people were in original medical fields here, okay, before they got written out by 502 and 5052. Got it? Boom. Okay. What did we do? All right. Well, we got about 39 licenses open. Okay, great. Probably about 10 or 15 blacks who could identify themselves from that era, who had gone a distance, gone to do the lottery, what have you. All right? So let's give them darkies their licenses now for what they've been through. And then the rest of the 39 licenses get divvied up according to the Asians, the white medical, and whoever else, and Johnny-come-latelys, okay? But Johnny-come-lately should come last. So that's where I get to the next level now. How is the statute going to be narrowly tailored? Okay, remember, from 2 minutes ago, compelling governmental interest, which means important shit going down. B, how do you address the important shit? It has to be narrowly tailored, okay? Narrow, like my waist, all right? Got it. So, what it is your remedy gonna be overbroad, okay? Here's the problem, but your remedy's over here. Too big, all right? It's like Pac-Man, doesn't work, okay? Let me dumb you down. So, what you gotta do is match it as closely as you can so that you're not going too far and you're doing enough. So in this instance, what is the harm in some white people having to wait for a little while the original blacks and some of the original white medicals, those are the first tier. They should go first. And this plan that's coming up now, it doesn't really resound with that. Okay? So that's where the narrowly tailored part comes in. So if you look at what's the link I'm going to put up there when I hang up, it doesn't guarantee that. Plus you have the cronyism, because the part that I don't agree with is the fact that Ollie Garrett and those guys, they managed to eke out licenses for people that they're personal friends with. Okay? I didn't come here to be in a popularity contest. I came here to tell the fucking truth and to get these licenses moving, all right? Well, I didn't come here for that. I was in a relationship when I came here. And my family's lived here forever, off and on both sides. So I came here because I love Seattle, all right? But, my ex and I were still friends. But then I got turned on to different civil rights issues since I've been here, all right? And this is the biggest one I've ever seen. It's bigger than the homeowner fraud. Trust me. It's huge. And it's all about the tax dollars. And I'm going to segue out before I hang up here with you guys. But, yeah, so there's another part to the test, just so people can't say he doesn't know what he's talking about. The other part of the test is it overbroad or underbreath? But it's the least intrusive means. The least intrusive means to accomplish what it is. Well, that's easy, okay? So, just imagine you're in your bedroom resting and somebody walks in, you don't want them there. That's intrusive, all right? So, got it? So, how can the government be the least intrusive possible to do this? And honestly, the least intrusive means and the narrowly tailored kind of, in some cases, they weave about. And that's what they do in this case, all right? So, yeah, this is the least intrusive means to accomplish the compelling governmental interest to give back to these blacks and these medicals who got screwed. But see, Big Pharma's coming in now, and Massa got to set up the plantation in a certain ordered manner, okay? And the last of it we heard from reliable sources is that if you're friends with yours truly, you won't get a license, okay? And that sets up all kinds of constitutional problems. You know, you can't restrict somebody, condition somebody receiving a license on whether or not they're friends with me, especially when everything I'm saying is echoed by this blue blood law firm here, Miller Nash. They did this report with Cornell School of Law and Public Policy. All right, if you look at that damn report, about half of it is in the lawsuit that John Novak and I filed back in October of 2020. So if the court slams us in that lawsuit, they're slamming Miller Nash. You see, what they're doing is they're regulating the narrative and who's allowed to tell it. And that's why they want to get rid of people like me. They're like, this nigga knows too much. He's too articulate, he's too driven, and he just doesn't give a fuck about who he upsets. And that's true. I don't. At this point, my people have been upset. I'm upset. I have every right to be upset. I've been accused of threatening somebody's life. Really? Really? You know, I can shoot a gun pretty well, but come on, man. You know, it's like they'll stop at no end. And so, like I say, the scuttlebutt has it that if you're friends with me, you won't get a license. Well, okay, if that's not true, then I want to see my friends start getting licenses when this program ramps up, okay? Sure. Wow. Right. That was my best old Boston affected accent. Show off. Show off. Guys, it's just so much. It's like an episode of Scanners. You know, like your head's going to just fucking explode one day. You know, from all the bullshit that they put out, you know. There's more and more and more, and it just never ends. But it's gonna have to end, okay? It's a wedge. It's not an never-ending sonar or something like that. It's got to end. Licenses have to get issued. You know, I know in Cleveland they issued a license to. There's a black woman in Cleveland, you know, soup to nuts. All right, producer, processor, distribution, point of sale. Cleveland's still all medical, all right, but they can do it out there. What the? Oh, man. Whew, God. Yes. I'm at that age. I certainly have some flashes, man, but I was like, God, I can't be flashing right now. Anyway, so, yeah, you know, Cleveland Ohio can do it. You know, we're still sitting here. You know, why can't we do it out here in the so-called progressive P&W when Ohio's a red state, mind you? Yeah, right? How embarrassing is that? It should be very embarrassing to have Ohio ahead of the P&W on anything progressive. Yeah. Whew. Wow. Pepper, isn't that silly? You want to go to the park? Okay, let's go to the park. Yeah, wow, I need a break, man. I'm going to go to the park. And I think I can make some vroom vroom tonight. It's chilly out, but I think I need to make some vroom vroom. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. And tune in. It's going to be wild Wednesday. Tomorrow you won't see me around much. Wednesday I'll be back around. Okay. Ciao.